Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We're going to take you around the industry and back. A lot of stuff happening today. A lot of airdrops. A lot of something happening over on Solana. We got some Faracaster breakdowns that we'll get into. So a packed dashboard today. Excited to be sitting here with you guys at home. I'm doing my best to share out the show as people roll in. We are doing this every single day at 1 p.m. Eastern. Appreciate you guys joining here. One-ish Eastern. Okay, so Biggie Poppins, what's up, bro? And then we'll get to Dead GIF. My man's having a fun time with Restream these days. Here, let's go. What's up, Biggie?
Dude, things are good. Things are good. I'm just chilling here with my cabal, figuring out what the next moves are, how we're gonna FUD Faracaster, and so many other things. I can't disclose though. It's cabal talk, you know.
Do you guys have points in that cabal? Do you guys have a token yet?
No points, man. Just bombs.
US dollars?
Bombs.
Just bombs. Just bombs. Dead GIF. Hello, sir. Nice Kane Mayfield tag there.
Yeah, shout out Kane. That man deserves a lot of love. And yes, these are his pins with his logo that I got when I finally got to meet him IRL here in LA for the first time at an awesome event where he performed. And anyway, yes, thank you for respecting my new identity and my name. You know, it's every single day it's fluid. GiftEd is a fluid entity. It's, you know, it can be one thing depending on my mood. It can be a whole yeah, it's a fugazi. No, I'm just happy to be here with y'all. Smash the like for this cabal. If you're here, you're part of the Web3 network cabal, and you know, we're gonna do our best to bring you tons of interesting value and interesting things to talk about. And yeah, Faracaster, I'm sure, will be part of that.
Yeah, so dashboard here, Faracaster, Solana, ApeChain, Eigen layer opening up. We got a Dimension airdrop. So we've been kind of following this here, and we're going to get into that here shortly. So we're getting an airdrop there. We're getting an airdrop everywhere. We're going to touch on Rug and a potential follow-up to RSIC here for a couple different collections within Ordinal. So Rug token apparently is getting airdropped. We did have a Quantum Cats mint yesterday, so that went off without a hitch. Hopefully we get Hudah in here to discuss that here in just a second. And yes, DP, we are going to have the Biggie Poppins came in with the heat today to talk about Faracaster. So we're going to ask that same quote, Biggie. I need word for word. I need it here.
Biggie's not suffering any fools today. He is not suffering no foolishness today, and I'm here for it. I like it.
All right, I'm getting the episode shared out. Please do your best to help us in that regard. If you want to leave a like here on YouTube, we appreciate you guys joining live here. If you're here afterwards, leave a comment down there. Go ahead, I'll reply to it. I'll like it. I'll do what I can. We appreciate you guys so much. We get a ton of folks after the episode that hop in and catch us here at 2x speed, I might add. I heard a lot of people do that because they just don't want to hear our ramblings all day. They need to get in and out. All right. Also on X, we are, simulcasting 2X. My boomer's coming out there. But yeah, super stoked for today's episode. It is jam-packed, so we're going to get off and running here. And DP says he's going to go full FUD today. All right, Dead GIF. Can we hit him? That feels so weird. Can we hit him with the disclaimer real quick?
Yeah, look, it's important as you're scrolling around the different applications, of which there are many, and, you know, maybe piping in here to listen to things that we're talking about, seeing things that we're posting about, you know, maybe dodging Drake's penis here and there, just to always not lose sight of this one truth, and that is that we are not financial advisors. It's important. No matter how many of Drake's penises are surrounding you, that you don't forget that we are not financial advisors. I know it can be easy when you're staring straight down the barrel. I need the max.
Don't do it.
All right, look. Just remember, do your own research. We're not financial advisors, and it's your bag, and we're not responsible for that at the end of the day.
All right, we're going to get off and running here. I believe I did what I could with the socials over there. So we're going to continue to get off on this journey. I guess a little bit of pause there, but I do want to start this off here by talking about one of my co-host thoughts on this topic. Wormhole comes out with this post this morning. It was never just a bridge. Let's watch a trailer because we love it.
Solana's top NFT project, DYM and Utes, are going to migrate chain.
One of the biggest stories, DYM.
Utes bridging to.
All right, hold on. I like this trailer, but what news networks were covering this like that? Like they basically made it like it was CNN commenting that they were moving from Solana to Polygon.
We were like the only ones that cover this type of shit like this.
One of the biggest stories, DYM.
Utes bridging to.
All right, first of all, I have no idea what you have 12 hours is, but also this is the comment that I want your guys' take on. We aren't going anywhere. We're going everywhere by Frank DeGods.
Right on. So DeGods going omni-chain, huh?
Look, the reason why I'm so ambivalent about this type of shit is because there absolutely is an art form to this type of like bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
just build something cool.
It is an art to be able to constantly say a magic phrase that gets people like spinning in whatever way you want them to without actually saying anything at all. It is an art form. And like when you read that, you're like, oh my God, this sounds so fucking big and profound, but it says literally fucking nothing. Like it doesn't tell you anything really about what they're actually doing. And that's the art. Like, and so, you know, is Frank ultimately going to transcend into being like a master marketer and also an actual like product builder, or will he literally be like one of the greatest neo snake oil salesmen of all time? It's still unclear to me where his path is going to go. He's really fucking good at selling whatever it is, though, whether it's legit or not. This guy is going to fucking sell it to you with some cool sounding phrase.
I mean, if he doesn't have to try too hard, why should he? I think, you know, a great word would be like cult leader. You know, he does have like these fanatical followers that will go, you know, with him anywhere. And yeah, it is an art form. Either way, I wish them well. I'm curious to see what this is going to look like. I hope it's not another wardrobe change. I'm curious as to the whole wormhole thing, because it's been spoken about before, right? Like the airdrop, and now I don't know, man. That trailer like ties them. I don't know. Like it's great for the DeGods, right?
Is it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, hey, it's publicity, right? What I'm saying is more than like they've been touting this airdrop for a long time, and they come up with this trailer, and it's so uniquely tied to DeGods. I don't think people that have been using Wormhole are going to be disqualified from the airdrop. I hope not. That would be very bad optics, right? But the fact that they just made a point to highlight the DeGods is interesting to me. Let's see what that means.
See, that this feels like more of a DeGods and Utes announcement than it does like talking about Wormhole. And where I go with this is like the viability of having communities on separate chains was already found out by that project. Didn't they already say that they were moving like all of their projects together on the Ethereum chain? They said like we can't do this whole like community is on two separate chains. Now they're going to every chain. I just don't know if the having communities on separate chains is even viable. Oniforce is now doing it with Ethereum, and they're moving to ordinals. I don't know who's pulled this off where they have two communities on two separate chains.
And to that point, Subber expanded away from Solana to try and be omni-chain, because that's sort of their whole product model, is that they are this tool that is connected. It's interoperability. That's their sort of like core competency on the Subber platform. So they thought, hey, it'll be great to launch NFT projects on multiple chains because it sort of represents that ethos. And now they're consolidating back to Solana, to your point, because it's too difficult. It doesn't really make a lot of sense ultimately to be, again, like splintering off your community in an arbitrary way that doesn't have a very clear sort of business model or purpose behind it. And what you just said, Q, is I guess the concern. I think you kind of hit it on the head, is that they've been saying that it wasn't making sense and it clearly didn't seem to be working, this like multi-chain approach where they try and split off their community all over the fucking place and do this caravan through every single chain that ever existed. It seemed like that was not really working out, and yet now they're doubling down on it or tripling down or even like quadrupling down and saying, actually, we're fucking everywhere. And it's like, maybe
they're leaning into it.
They're leaning into it.
And they are the wanderers of Web3. They truly are. They're just
carnies.
Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and who knows? Again, maybe to your point,
tramping all over Web3.
Yeah, maybe just like leaning in even further to the future of interoperability is actually the sort of like genius move here. So again, we are judging this before we even know what it is, but it does raise sort of those questions like, is this just more of the same strategy that was already not really working out?
Yeah, there's a business principle that you call it a parable principle, whatever, but going 1,000 miles wide and an inch deep feels like exactly what Utes and DeGods are doing. Yeah. They're trying to spread out everywhere. They're not focusing on one thing. And yeah, it gets them in the news, but really, are you going deep into an ecosystem at all? And that really, outside of the short news bursts that you get from this stuff, is what's going to be a sustainable ecosystem.
And you can compare that.
Bridging to Solana, right? And trying to fight it out over there again.
Well, you can compare that to some of the projects that we've seen very early in SEI and why they're doing so well, like the Saiyans, which is where like they are just dedicated to building infrastructure and building their roots into the SEI ecosystem and making themselves a top priority in that community and absolutely just fucking showing how fucking great they are, specializing and going very deep. Like you said, instead of going 1,000 miles deep in like 1 inch or 1,000 miles wide and 1 inch deep or whatever you said, they're instead going like just super focused, super deep. And I think that that's at least a winning strategy for them. So yeah, they're contrasting strategies. The whole thing of them like going all over the place, if we're being honest, it hasn't been like a complete loss. It's kept them in the headlines. It's done a service to at least building their brand and awareness all over the place. It kept everybody fucking talking, which I think is, again, that's really the super strength of the strategy, or Frank's, you know, his fucking genius is that he keeps everybody fucking talking about you all the time. But yeah, it's where's the product at the end of the day? Maybe we're gonna get there. Maybe this will get us closer. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Hudah's here, so we can officially start NFT Live. Nice to see you, sir. I know he's a hard ass worker, and he was just getting content done while now hopping.
He had to feed his cats, you know.
Feeding the cats, getting their food ready. Really, I don't have my cats yet, but that's coming really soon.
Do you
getting their house ready.
Do you chew it up in your mouth first and then spit it into their mouths? Or
dude, Giff, you are on one today, bro. God damn. All right, I'm gonna get to some of these comments here. Hudah, just give me just 1 second. What was your question?
What did I walk into? What was that?
Ask this guy.
Not responsible.
All right. Christian Jensen saying GM. DP saying let's go. Marty McFly is bringing the FUD gang. DP is asking for no more talk. Well, we won't go there. Peter Koo saying you have the choice to go every chain you want, but meh. They are the first woohoo, and that's all he wants. Marty saying, what's all the Drake talk about? New album? DP saying one thing you got to give Frank credit for is that MFer is sticking around. He's going to try his best to sell you some shit, whether you like it or not. And Marty saying, I literally never think about Utes or DeGods unless it's brought up here. And also saying that's what she said. All right. The show is officially on slash off the rails, of course, but we're live here on the Web3 network. Hudah, nice to see you. We didn't get a chance to kind of talk with you after your Quantum Cats mint. Are you sitting pretty, sir?
I hope so. Like, still, they're not in people's wallets yet. That's coming in like maybe an hour or two here. And man, I just know that there's like, you guys know this, everyone watching knows this. There's a lot of hype around that collection. And some people that I know close to the collection say they're feeling like it might get frothy out there in secondary, which would be awesome. Like awesome.
I mean, quick flip.
Yeah.
I like pro incoming, Hudah.
That's my goal. I mean, there's a very specific, kind of target price for me. If they hit that, of course, I'm out of one of them and I'm getting an Apple Vision Pro. Like I'm just fiending over that thing. I think they'll hit that number too. Like for me, it's not that crazy. It's 0.3 Bitcoin. Here's a little curveball though. Okay. I didn't realize that people are thinking the Taproot Wizards are going to be like half a Bitcoin. And I really want one of those. So I need to think if I need to like start setting aside a budget to get one of those. Like already I put in work doing a quest, right? So I like, that's something I need to continue and try to work towards the Taproot Wizard. Just, man, it's such a freaking head game, isn't it?
I love DGen math.
You guys over on Bitcoin are just slanging money around. 0.5 Bitcoin. You guys, it's like I feel like I love
the DGen math of like, well, 2 Quantum Cats might equal a Taproot Wizard, so I have to budget out my Bitcoin puppets so that maybe like, dude, it fucking makes me so happy because it's absolutely the most ridiculous thing to get to do on a day-to-day basis, and it just reminds me of why I wake up every fucking day. It's for this nonsense. But
and dude, how lucky are we? Like, I mean, like how fucking lucky and fortunate are we that we get to do this? Like we live in Candyland or something. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is something like that. And I just want to say, my play so far, I took my time with ordinals. So far, it looks like I did it very well. Yes. Again, the only thing I could have done better was I just moved earlier on a couple of the early things. But I took my time. I saw the dip on Bitcoin puppets. I recognized what I thought was a good meme. And I saw the momentum and the volume really picking up on top of a couple other anecdotes from people like Cake Nygaard, people who I love, who are really tapped into that sort of like the meme side of things. And I pulled the trigger and I got 2 puppets and they're up like 3x since I bought them. And now there's an airdrop for this rug. So I don't know if we want to hit that really quick, but I would love to see the whole list of those, because I know there was just like 3 or 4 projects called out. But I think Q, you were saying that it might be the same exact projects that got the RSIC airdrop. And if that's the case, then we have something here that we should all be talking about. And again, it's like, okay,
well, you got pumps coming for those collections. That's for sure. Whenever you get these airdrops, yeah.
But this might be a meta now, because I think whatever happens, right? What we know in the space is that whenever there's something super successful, it basically dictates a new meta. A new meta usually spins out of a very successful event, and so we had it's the first big airdrop that I know of on ordinals. And I'm sure there's been some other ones that we weren't covering as closely. So I'm not saying it's the first one, anything like that. It's the first one that I know is big enough that everybody's fucking talking about it. And that's these runes RSIC thing. So those were a free airdrop to a bunch of these collections. And then they've just been running. Like they are worth thousands of dollars. And it's been like the top ordinals project by volume pretty much since those dropped. And so now what maybe we're seeing is a pattern. Everybody says, holy shit, this was hugely successful. How do we duplicate that? Which is what tends to happen in business in general, is it's always easier to replicate a model and go from 1 to N than it is to go from 0 to 1. That's why you see a million fucking derivative projects anytime there's something successful and you get these little metas. Sometimes they're not the bigger macro metas. Sometimes it's just a smaller meta based off of a successful project. A mini meta. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. I think that there might be a mini meta of airdropping to specific ordinal projects now. So that's why I would really love to look at what is this list of projects.
All right, we gotta hop over to another topic. Go ahead. Hudah.
Just that you know what, again, just speaking volumes about this channel here, like like what we talk about. We've been saying now for a couple of weeks it's going to be rune season, and it is. That's basically what GIF is talking about here. Leonidas has got another rune that's going to be coming out, and they're going to get it to, like, I don't know, anyone who's collected 3 ordinals in the past year. So man, it's going to rain runes here shortly.
Wait, which one is that? Because I've got 2 ordinals. I need one more. Wait, which?
They might have already cut. Like, I'll DM you. We'll dig into that.
Shit.
But they might have already had that cutoff date.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah,
Okay.
Leonidas, though, is who you want to be following for that.
All right, I'm going to show you guys one last time, and if you guys could support it, it would be fantastic. This is the NFT live link for the day over on X. Big shout out to all of you folks that help support the channel on a daily basis. We do these shows like literally 3 episodes in a row. And some of you, like, honestly tune in for all 3 of them, which is wild. It shows the power of this community. You guys are fantastic.
It's incredible because at this point, Q's already sick of me. I don't know how y'all put up with it, but
yeah, well, you know what? I appreciate you guys even hopping in on Say What, even when we're half awake. But yes, we're going to touch on a ton of different stuff. We just hit on the Bitcoin ordinals thing. The ERC 404 stuff that we were touching on yesterday popped off even after the show. So if you're paying attention and you decided, hey, I wanted to dive deep, again, this is not financial advice. We're not telling you what to do. We're just kind of talking about things that we're seeing on the horizon. But if you did kind of look into it and, you know, maybe make a bet here or two, you're doing good on Pandora. And then Faracaster, which Biggie Poppins loves. Can't wait for the Faracaster take from Biggie Poppins, is obviously making its rounds in the space. So that's the look at today. Guys, let's address the albatross in the room here. And it's not Drake's penis. You didn't like that? I wait the whole time. I wait all 3 episodes. You guys are the ones that throw that at me. I tell you to stop, and then I make one.
Bro, at this point, though, it's just kind of like you're beating a dead dick, you know?
Wow, dude. All right, Solana went down for 4 hours today. Did not produce blocks for 4 hours. That is the albatross. I'm sorry, DP, but yes, go ahead, Hudah.
Let me tell you, I don't know if you guys already covered this because I did come in late. I didn't realize how big of a deal that actually is. Like, do you guys know the impact of that 4-hour outage?
Probably huge.
The fact that you can't transact on the network.
More than that. More than that. There's actually something really tangible here. I didn't know this. Luckily, I work with guys who are deep in the Solana ecosystem. Okay, Solana is still in beta. Like, officially, Solana is in beta. The thing they have to hit to get out of beta is 12 months of uptime. They just reset themselves back an entire year now to get out of beta. Right? That's crazy. I don't know if it's just a marketing thing, beta, you know, like production, whatever, but that is a significant milestone for them. And again, they just set themselves back a year.
Well, it would be great to get more context on that because a lot of times those types of things, to your point, are internally determined, right? Like there might not be any sort of external force that's enforcing anything like that. It might just be an internal sort of milestone, in which case it's kind of just semantics and like you said, sort of like marketing, etc. It's not to say that it
though. It's a good metric to aim for, I think. Like I you know, especially for something that's been around for a long time, like Solana. I'm sorry, like it has been a while, right? As people, I don't know. Whenever these things happen, I understand Solana maxis come out and defend their chain, and rightfully so. But to say that it's a nascent chain, I think is a little bit disingenuous. It's been around since last cycle. It performs, you know, all right, but it continues to have these issues, and I find that really concerning because you do have, you look at their expected launch date for Fire Dancer and Monad, right, which are their parallelized EVM products. Say is front running them in this regard. They are about to launch. If that performs well, I mean, I don't know. Like, what does that say about Solana? Like, it's been a minute now, you know, like these things should not be happening.
Solana, and I say this in the best way possible, the literal best way I could say this, like the Solana is going to stick around. They have that cockroach effect. They have battled FTX, FUD, and their chain already going down. There is nothing to me that could happen to this chain other than it going down for like several days or something like that. Even then, they have enough of like this diehard community where they're never going to not be there. Like, but the toughest tests have already been faced. There's nothing that can kill this thing. Like, I don't want to say nothing because I'm not using absolutes, but they've gotten through their toughest tests.
This is true. However, I do think, there are other parallelized computational protocols that are up and coming. Not just Say. I know we're bullish on that there, but like there's Sui, there's Aptos coming fast. All of them with different, boons and drawbacks, right? And I do think Solana has a competitive advantage still, tremendous, right? Like just from the time that it's been up and the people that have been building there. But again, and I keep going back to this, the best tech doesn't necessarily always happen, and this continues to happen. People will start side-eyeing some of these other protocols, right? And comparing whatever's being launched there to Solana, how it's performing, what the community is like. I think, you can't have too many of these, especially going into a bull cycle where, like, I think, the stakes, I don't give a crap if it's fucking labeled as beta. There's millions being transacted there. If you go down like that during a bull cycle, people are going to lose a lot of money. People are going to be fucking pissed. You better not do that, So, they're lucky that they still got this little hiccup in right now before that, because if this happened in full bull swing, that would be really bad.
And the price is barely being affected at all. It really didn't change at all. And on the cockroach thesis, I was literally thinking last night about how I was sitting there watching Solana at $13, $15. We were all sitting there watching it, and I knew that I should be buying and collecting, and I just didn't have free liquidity.
Call, dude.
No,
you knew?
Yeah, I
thought
think
that shit was gonna fucking die.
I didn't think it was gonna die because we knew how strong the community.
Now.
But we have enough knowledge to know how strong the community is and how strong their developer base is.
But not back then. It was like the
whatever.
War was falling apart.
I knew, and I didn't have any liquidity, and so I didn't take my own intuition.
I knew, and I did, and I couldn't bridge out of it fast enough. I was panicking, bro. Panicking. You have no idea. People flooring, dude. DGods got down like super low. Some people bought. I get it. Like some people recognize that risk reward opportunity and they took that leap and they deserve to be rewarded for it, man. But
the point is, you could be up 8x.
Hell.
Yeah, I know, but you're kind of using revisionist history on this, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, when it was happening, when FTX was crumbling, it looked like the shit was gonna just fucking go into oblivion. And then we started to see, the community's coming back, and that's when we had community members come in and try to talk to us about it. But really, dude, like that was it was dying.
I'm trying to point out that it's like a cockroach, and so buying dips in these situations is probably smart, but there's not even a dip.
They're a cockroach now. I didn't know they were a cockroach back then.
Yeah, dude, Solana will be fine, honestly. I think especially now because, well, there's so many more people that got exposure to it. They finally got some skin in the game. Like, you don't have the same ETH maxis who are just taking advantage and dunking on them after this happened. They got skin in the game now, and they got to protect their little, whatever they got over there. What it does is what like still where I've been at with Solana. I wasn't ready to spend any big money on big pricey NFTs because exactly something like this. And that's still going to give me pause now, right? Like, I'm going to question if I should be spending $5,000-$10,000 on an NFT over there. That's the big hurdle.
I think that like, I agree with GIF and the guys up here. Like, this is going to be something that is like a small and minor hiccup. Had it happened in a bull, yeah, we'll see what that timeline looked like. But Hudah, I think you're touching on the biggest point. It slows down their momentum now.
Yeah.
And that's what the path they were on with this Jupe airdrop. I know it didn't hit like everybody wanted to, but this is going to slow down their momentum a lot.
And the real question is, how many, what is it? How many licks until the center of the Tootsie Pop? Like, how many fucking times is this going to happen until at some point people fucking throw in the towel and they're like, okay, you know what? This is enough. Enough's enough. Like, I'm done. I'm going to start removing some risk from this chain. I'm going to start looking elsewhere for high things, right? Like, like you said, yes, they have been a cockroach up to this point, but to declare them as like Invictus is premature, I think. Like, this is going to be their biggest test going into this bull run. And if I was Anatoly right now, I'd have a fucking flamethrower right now. I'd be fucking searing motherfuckers live to everybody to watch.
Question for the
Sure.
group up here. Gift, make this point, and then question for the group there. And I'll probably get a poll out too. I predict there will be another outage during the bull market, says DP. So I want y'all's take. But go ahead, Gift.
Yeah.
Well, and probably a lot of people are now looking at that as a serious proposition or possibility. It would just be really cool to get a take from an institutional investor and or a large like platform developer like a Dex or something. So like I don't know if we have any connections to a Jupe or anybody, you know, maybe Mike Finch has like some larger sort of investment, you know, institutional investor crypto hedge fund connection, because I would love to hear their take on what does this do to their Solana thesis, right? Because maybe a lot of them say like, look, they are the cockroaches and this shit hasn't really stopped them. I'm bullish long. Or maybe they're saying, hey, this is actually, like Biggie keeps pointing out, potentially very detrimental to platforms and people who are doing massive trades and who depend on this network being reliable. And so for that reason, I'm downgrading my sort of allocations there, and I don't feel as strong. I would love to actually have that kind of perspective, because I don't know.
I mean, how we're thinking right now is how a lot of those people will think. Like if you're ingrained in the ecosystem, these are the takes that those guys are listening to when we talk to Mike and things like that. He's going to be telling them the same thing we would probably tell them. Go ahead, Hudah.
Just, you know, the headspace of some Solana guys I talked to this morning, I love it. I think they're dreaming big with what Solana is and what it will be. But they said, like, one guy in particular said he was listening to like Jeff Bezos talk about early AWS. They had outages. It happens. Like, it's a different thing. And when you're dreaming again that big, if that's your goal, if that's your ambition, is to be the AWS kind of blockchain, it's a growing pain. It's going to happen.
I agree, Huda. It's just like you do have also that narrative, right? That's been built up over time. It's like FTX coin, you know, like a history of it going down continuously in crucial moments. Also, this eventually builds up into something that you can no longer escape, right? And I agree, like they should be shooting for the moon, because that's what they declared Solana to be, you know, and that's what a high throughput chain enables, right? And so let's see it. Like, let's get it to work. I don't, you know, like the comparison to Amazon is apt somewhat, but I do think, you know, like we had I believe it was Sarah Script, you know, kind of being like, give them some grace, you know, it's a nascent chain. And it's like, is it like a little baby? You know, I would say Say is a nascent chain. Sui is a nascent chain. Aptos is a nascent chain. Solana has everything to lose in this fucking bull cycle. Yeah. They are the ETH from last cycle. They should be outperforming right now, you know. I say this as somebody that still has assets in it, and I know what they're building. Like, there's amazing products that are being built over there. Like, I just want it to perform, and honestly, this makes it very hard for me to have faith. I don't care how many times Anatoly comes out and talks about chewing glass and, like, you know, these like fucking cockroach devs and all that. Great. I love that attitude. I'm all fucking for it. Jocko Willing fucking devs.
Good.
Now fucking perform and stop fucking crashing. Period.
I mean, dude, the beauty of the blockchain and the magic of the blockchain, the thing that just like won us over, is that it's this persistent thing that cannot go down. It's a forever thing. It's permanent, and then it goes down. It makes it feel less like a blockchain. It's thus magical. It's not what we thought it was, or at least what the others are. So I know, you know, ETH has had its moments and Bitcoin early on too, but you know, again, it feels less blockchainy when it does go down.
I would actually love to get to the bottom of the answer. Has ETH gone down? Because the question was brought up on GM Web 3, and the point I was trying to make was the biggest FUD Ethereum's ever had to deal with is the fact that they rolled back the chain after they got hacked.
Right.
That led to Ethereum Classic. That brings up again the other elephant in the room, which is this immutable?
They didn't get hacked. It was the DAO that got hacked.
Yeah, the DAO got. Yes, yeah, you're right. You're right.
They did a very nascent moment,
which is even worse.
Time, which would have been horrible for most people, and that's why that happened. But the protocol itself worked flawlessly.
Yes, and the immutability aspect is again that thing that we choose to kind of cover over, at least in that instance. It's like, oh, we're here to be immutable, but that could technically happen again. Now, I think a lot more would have to happen now that ETH has been built out the way it has, and there's more nodes, more validators, all that stuff than it was in 2016. But there is that stuff we got to deal with. So great point. I do have the link out, or the poll out there. Will Solana go down in the bull market? That is on YouTube. If you want to go over there and vote right now, 62% of you saying yes. We'll see what the answer is there. Hudah, I was trying to find on Magic Eden as well what this did to the NFT scene. I haven't even looked at the, I don't even know if I want to look at the more liquid meme tokens and stuff like that. But I think GIF was also saying that the Solana price has already rebounded. So maybe this doesn't affect a lot of this stuff at all.
The impact's going to be minor. Like minor, I mean, I can tell you sales volume is down 77% from yesterday. I can look at the index and see value-wise how that factored in, but it shouldn't factor in much. This should account for lower volume. So I think the impact's going to be pretty darn small here.
We'll see. Like that sort of killing of momentum can take a while to fully like play out, as you know. I want to shout out our friends here in the chat though. Y'all are fucking getting after it today. I love to see it. Quantum coming in saying, you know, this is an example showing how centralized Sol is compared to ETH and BTC. Too much risk and too few hands. Left Action House just came in here absolutely swinging, saying Sol will be forgotten. It's broken down before. It's a giant poop. It's not cool. Who else? We got Marty. I got a bunch of great comments in here saying it would have stayed dead if it wasn't for meme coins and phones.
Okay, but that's a product on Solana. Like you can't just say it would have been dead, but it's like it's saying
also.
I don't know, but
no, it's a good point. He also thinks Blast may kill Sol.
Of course.
I mean, there's a ton of fucking money over there. The one thing I'll end with this is saying, like, we're not over here. There is a lot of ETH bashers. You saw some of those memes kind of come out where the guy was like, kind of caps locking, kind of cracking his fingers, getting ready to fucking shill post on the ETH. But that's not what we're doing up here. Like, one of the things I will say, and what I've always appreciated and why I've always hated Cardano, is because, in my opinion, that chain has always been able to run on the fact that they're going to do something down the line. There's something like, we're not going to put it out. Whereas EOS was one of the bigger protocols at the time. It failed. It's still up, I'm sure, and there are probably still people building there like other protocols. But they were out in the wild, and having to deal with all this stuff, and then having to deal with some of the negative impacts of being live. So I know we all love Say up here, but Say is not doing the amount of transactions I think that Sol is doing. So we don't have exactly. So that's the one thing I will say is people that want to shit on this Solana situation, the only reason they're even able to be fudded like this is because they're doing that amount of transactions in all of this stuff. So
and I will say it sounds like I am Rush. You guys need some tough love. I am also in Solana. I do have bags in Solana. This is not FUD. It's just you need fucking tough love, right? Like you need to get your shit together. So don't mistake this with that. I think that it's two very different plays at very different junctures in time. You know, like it's not a matter of being a fucking maxi of whichever chain. It's just demanding better from, you know, what you put out there. And I think Solana is faltering in that regard. And I want to see it fucking succeed and do well, right?
Yeah, I think this has been a very good grown-up conversation. Like to be totally honest, it is like we're yeah, right. It's so funny because it's so far from that. Like I wrote here in the chat, I'm rooting for everyone, and I think everyone here on this stage, and I think most of the people watching, we are rooting for everybody in Web3 to succeed. If anyone wins, we all win. It just has that kind of effect.
That's the definition of chain agnostic, right? Like we just want the space to win. But yeah, Peter Q thinking there's a bunch of salty peepees here who missed the train. DP saying, truth be told, I don't think they can stop crashing. I think fixing the error would probably be more detrimental and costly than rebooting the network whenever there's an outage. Yeah, interesting. But I think Q's trying to keep us going.
I'll tell you this, and this is the part that kills me. It's like, if this were to happen again, and probability in history right now indicates that it will, right? Like, just think of somebody that's out there, you know, degens, we don't like to use leverage, right? Like, think of somebody that's got a position that's significant out there, and then something like this happens, and you can't fucking do anything about it, and you lose all your shit. Yep. I hate to see that. I hate to see those posts, you know, and it's, I don't know, man. It's very, it's very disheartening, man, because you feel completely helpless, you know, and
right.
nobody's gonna hold your hand or tell you, hey, or reimburse you or anything like that. And so, yeah, it's a huge responsibility that they are taking upon themselves. And I understand that it's in beta and people that go into that ecosystem should be aware of it. It's just, man, on the other side, it's like one too many times, man.
Yeah, Nick's saying, just remember when the app came out that made degens go walking around their neighborhood for like 2 months till it's super rugged. Talking about Pokemon
Move to
Go
earn?
and left
No,
action.
move to earn. He's
No,
talking about what was it?
Steppin'?
Oh, Steppin'.
That's
Yeah,
a near
Steppin'.
product,
But
right?
also, that's
Polygon.
here's the thing.
Okay.
Like Left Action House talking about how these products are like not really anything. It's like, what is any product? I just literally got the Steppin' product confused with Pokemon Go. They did the same thing. Like, there's not like, what are you saying? Like, we're not building like a research cancer facility. Yes, we're not moving the space forward or the world forward in that sense. But like, these are products and people use them and people watch television and get entertained by apps where you go outside. It's like, these are just things. Like, I
still,
like, you know what the collectible Pokemon market is? Like these are things that exist outside of Web3 that you could make the same argument and say, what is this all doing?
It's
Like,
a lot of us
this is what-
poking and figuring out use cases. What does work? And when we find what works, how much further can we push it? And so we're just incrementally building, and it's actually awesome. It's really cool to see.
And the potential for when those little tweaks or minor products do hit is crazy because they scale so quickly. But I do, Q often brings us back to the point that like, yeah, a lot of this stuff is not like curing cancer, although I'm bullish on DeSci curing cancer. I do think that will happen.
Sir, you just got an airdrop for getting cured.
Yeah, but look, yeah,
good news.
a lot of the shit is just based on gambling, and Left Action House is being extremely critical of that right now. You're not completely wrong. A lot of people in the space are just here to try and make money, but also like that's most of our lives at this point because a lot of us live in capitalist societies where it's like, yeah, one of the craziest things that I've gotten out of being in Web3 for the last 3+ years now is literally an understanding of how much of life is truly just a gamble and how much people are literally just fucking constantly gambling. Even when you start a business.
Well, you're forced to. A lot of the generations are now forced to because we don't have that system that was set up in the 40s and why people were looking at America because you could get a stable job, you could own a house, you could do all this stuff. Like that shit is out the window.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. Now gambling is becoming more than just a fucking hobby. Like to your point, like this sort of like figuring out how to play with different types of incentives and economics and find ways to sort of hack your money into new money or whatever it is. You're right, Q. This is now becoming a full-time job for a whole generation of people because there aren't as many of those quote unquote traditional means of actually building a sustainable lifestyle. So to just shit on it like it's all just a fucking scam, it's like, sure, but that means that literally our whole society is fucking a scam right now.
Yeah. Okay. Extinct is saying OVOT. I don't know if that's the best transition. And Left is saying, so you're here to hang and not get rich. I look, I can only speak for myself. I got into NFTs because I liked collecting things. It wasn't about getting rich. It was like, oh shit, crypto kitties, and you could like breed them, and I actually own them in my wallet, and that was like, that's where my head went. Now everybody has their own thing to get into. So, anyways, go ahead, Hudah.
That's it. Like I think like. Dude, I've always been in this space in a way, like from back in the days on IRC and ICQ and AOL chat rooms and fucking news groups and stuff. Like I've always lived in online communities. This is an evolution of that. So yeah, we didn't come here for any other purpose other than some of us were always already here, even if not directly playing in crypto. So this is the internet. This is what it is now.
All right, we got down a very, very deep rabbit hole there. I'm going to try to speed us through this next piece. We touched on Pandora yesterday. This is that ERC 404 standard. Hudah, we actually were bringing up your tweets here on the show, referencing why this time is different. And I know, Gifted, you were eagerly awaiting his answer. Also, just to give you a timeline and a look at this, this is where we were talking about it. So I know I'm not zoomed in. So over the course of, this is on the 5-minute chart. So we're on the DGen chart. But this is about where we found it, $4,000. For this, and now we see the ramp up.
Oh my god!
Ramp all the way up to 9,000. So about a 2x. If again, NFA, you were paying attention.
A buddy told me about this, like when the NFT was at like 0.6. And I thought it was fucking awesome. Like I saw it and I'm like, that is really cool. Truthfully, not liquid enough to buy anything, but something felt like, okay, like Warpcast feels different when you finally get on there, right? You get on, you're like, oh, this isn't just like the same old, this isn't just Threads 2.0 or whatever. Feels different. This feels different. Don't know that it's gonna be different, but this feels different.
So Hudah, I wanted you to explain that more because we actually pulled up this post. You were saying that basically in the comments yesterday as we were looking at this, and you weren't here to sort of justify that sentiment because like we were talking about with Faracaster this morning, you know, we all get caught up in our bags and the hype of everything. And we're always trying to fucking convince everybody that whatever new quote unquote product or tech is fucking different. And so, yeah, what does that mean? Like when you say this feels different, can you try and break it apart a little bit more for why you think this feels different?
Probably can't go deep enough to convince anyone because I'm less convinced now than when I spoke about this probably yesterday or the day before. Reason being, OX Quit put together a really nice thread about it. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's great. And basically he said, you know, like this is cool and it does do something kind of new. But I think the way this actually works better is the way we're already doing it, which is separate it. You already got NFTs and you already got platforms that can fractionalize those NFTs. And I'm with them there. Only thing you're missing at that point is this gamified token standard where you can re-roll NFTs. And I do think that's interesting. So, okay, I like the option that you have liquidity through the ERC20. I think that's really cool. And I like that when you go get that liquidity, when you sell your token, I like the NFT being destroyed.
Hudah, let me ask you one direct question. Is the better innovation here the access to the liquidity or the actual tech innovation of like what they're doing with it? Because essentially what I'm hearing is their ability to turn, again, NFTs into kind of fractional tokens and just like this thing that can be easily traded in pools is the access to liquidity.
To me, that already exists before, like on those pools, right? I'm trying to think like NFT
side.
You're talking
something
about
like
like flooring and stuff.
Yeah, well, no, there's these other platforms where you can like just literally drop your NFT in a pool and you get their token. Like to me, that already existed too.
That's what flooring does.
But flooring fractionalizes it, right? You get those U tokens. So I guess very, very similar, right? Yeah, actually, it's the exact same thing. The other ones I'm thinking of, you get one token on flooring, you get like, you know, the million. I tell you what, and this isn't the biggest thing in the world. I like that you re-roll your NFT. There's something about that I think adds like this extra gamification to a collection. You buy the crypto, you get a re-rolled NFT. I like it. But again, with OX Quit pointing this out again, I think it's less of a big deal than I initially thought. I do think it's cool. And we said earlier, a lot of what we're doing here is just poking and finding things that work and new things, and then we push them further. That's what I'm hoping this ultimately is.
And here's the thing, though. Like
floor price is 3.3, Hudah.
So it's fallen a ton.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No. I thought floor price. Oh, was that?
It was over 4.
Okay, go ahead, Biggie.
Yeah.
Fractionalization is nothing new. This is just a new way to go about it. But my issue, very much the same with Warpcast, is that something new comes out and people immediately start blast. This is the greatest.
Get your popcorn ready, folks.
Fucking bread. Oh my God. It's going to change the game. You're late to the party, homie. Fuck off. Don't do this to me.
Keep going, bro.
I mean, how many times have you fucking, are we going to fall for this same fucking shit, right? Like I'm all for devs trying new things. Like this is one of them, right? Like I want people, that's why I'm very careful about, I don't want to FUD shit. But what frustrates me is the space and the people in it. That okay, who do you think is fucking pumping this fucking thing as the greatest thing as sliced bread? The people that are in early. They want to pump their bags and dump on your fucking ass, you know? And the issue is that they continue to peddle this fucking narrative that it's so innovative. It's gonna change the space. Fuck that. Like, just, you know, take your time. I'm not saying don't play with it. Like, for sure, have some skin in the game if you're going to talk, especially intelligently about it and claim it to be this revolutionary new product. But at least give me like a week of using Faracaster. Give me a week where you're at least spending a little more than an hour a day on that thing, and then come and tell me why it's so revolutionary. Not just because you read 1 or 2 threads about like the new fucking tools that this thing is providing that, you know, could potentially be something, right? But what I see continuously there is like, oh, the rooms are amazing, the conversation is incredible. Okay, but what was the subject matter? Where's the alpha? Come on, share it. We're all sharing here, right? I never get anything like that, right? The alpha I see is degen token, frame token. Oh, okay, I know this game. I know this fucking game very well. And no, thank you. I'm kind of late to the party. I don't want to partake.
Look, this is
revolutionary to me.
Yeah, it's the exact same pattern with so many of these new little fucking gimmicks, right? And so what you have to do is wait and find out, is this a gimmick or not, if you want to play it smart. It was the whole reason why I was very slow with ordinals, right? And I took my time. I knew there was a bunch of people trying to FOMO people into a bunch of junk early on, and that I could very easily get wrecked. It's the same pattern. Whenever something new comes out, a lot of these things are just fucking gimmicks, and they're going to be gone just as fast as they come. And a lot of people, like Biggie's saying, are just trying to FOMO you in and use you as exit liquidity. So if there's one thing that we will try and do here consistently is try and make us all more aware of these patterns, so that hopefully we're a little bit smarter before we just like ape into the oh, somebody said something on fucking X. Yo, like sometimes that shit's legit. A lot of times you are just getting fucking taken for a ride. When you go that route, you don't do your own research and you fucking FOMO. If there's one thing that we can try our best collectively to remind everybody, is that don't get caught up in the FOMO and hype of chasing the shiny object. Take your time, do some actual research. We say do your own research ad fucking nauseum, and nobody ever does it. Nobody ever does it. But look, literally remember, whenever you're getting that itch of like, oh no, am I late? Am I gonna miss the bus? And you start clicking around very quickly, trying to get into your wallets to fucking move funds. Anytime you get in that zone, fucking pause, take a breath, take a step back. I've already, even with me saying this, just in the last couple months as things heated up, dude, I lost over 10K from FOMOing into a couple different things and making dumb decisions. So even me, I make these fucking mistakes all the time. It is so easy to get caught up in that fucking, oh shit, I'm gonna miss the boat, and you rush. So just remember, like Biggie's saying, a lot of times these are just fucking a fugazi and somebody trying to hype you into a new thing. Take your fucking time. Don't chase FOMO. Just don't really
learn. It's a very real thing, and you can actually condition yourself to get over that because you recognize the feeling. It's exactly like Gift described it. It's a feeling you're like, I've been here before, and you always want to follow through and chase it. You can get to the point where you actually stop yourself. I actually got this cool thing that happens. Okay, I have like 100% hit rate when I wake up in the middle of the night, and I wake up with FOMO about something, but it's something that I've been sitting on for days and days and days. I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, get that right this second. Something clicks, and it's like every time that's happened, I've got something, and it's done phenomenally. It's the weirdest thing.
Maybe it's a timing thing, Hudah. Maybe you're working on the Asian folks. You're on the Asian timeline.
But the difference there that's important to me is it's not just like, oh, I just saw this thing. Like I'm sitting up fucking doom scrolling at 3 a.m. and a random fucking tweet comes across my timeline, so I go act on it. No, he's saying these are things I've been looking at, studying for a little while, and I'm doing all this math and trying to understand it in my head, and then something clicks because I'm thinking about it late at night. Very different from just saying, oh, if I'm up late at night, then anything I degen into is going to fucking go well. Yeah. So yeah.
Quantum, I don't know if I'm following you on this one. You're saying so sorry to say, but say NFTs are mostly about dumping on the community too. The only reason I would disagree with this is just basically saying like all ecosystems when they first start are like this. They're seen as honeypots. There's going to be good amongst the bad, probably more bad. Just on we always bring up the Pareto principle, like literally, like there's going to be more good projects or more bad projects than good. And that's what happens. So I don't know if saying NFTs are mostly about dumping on the community, but I kind of see where you're going with it.
I'll answer that. Like, take a swing at it. Pump and dumpers exist everywhere. Say is no exception. I think we've been very clear, though, that from the get-go, the reason why we're interested in Say is 1, it's early, so the risk-reward is very good. 2, having been there for a month in the space, and joining a couple of the so-called blue chip communities, I can tell you that the quality of the people there are definitely different, distinct. And I think actions speak louder than words. You can see it from some of these projects. Shipping like I've never seen on any other chain. Ethereum, Bitcoin, you name it. Like within weeks, really fast. And then third, like I do, Quant, I wouldn't have put my name and my reputation on the line, say, for distributing these alive 1111 NFTs if I didn't believe in it, right? And it's not like a humongous stream. It's like, for me, it's like planting a seed. It's like trying to help art flourish in this new chain, right? But when I saw what NYC Labs was doing, how fast they were moving, the people that were there trying to do this, the fact that, look at it, it's got no rarities. It's, it was free claim. Like, there are many aspects about this drop that I love, that I said, hey, yeah, I want to partake. I want to help distribute this. I want to bring people over here to check it out. I do think SEI has a very unique selling proposition at the moment. And it really boils down to this. It is the Solana type tech experience, but with the opportunity to have the Ethereum culture, nurture it and build it. And that's what gets me excited. That's what I'm seeing there. I'm not trying to tell you that there aren't pump and dumps and that there aren't, that aren't going to be shit coins there. But I think it's very different. And when you hear people talk about, say, I don't know who else you're listening to, but like the majority of the people that come up on Say What in the morning, I think they really do try to be as transparent as possible about what they're trying to achieve in that space. And I consistently hear all the time, it's like, based on my experience in such and such chain, or based on my experience in such and such project, I think this is a better route. I want to try this differently. And that's what's exciting to me about it. Again, it can definitely go to zero. To me, it's just the risk reward there, and the people that are taking the leap of faith and going over there and checking it out. That's all. Very different, in my opinion, to what I'm hearing and seeing from Faracaster or this fucking Pandora thing.
Real quick, Gif, I want to show off one thing as far as SEI goes. We don't really have much on that front. We covered a lot on Say What in the morning. We had Halibut on, so you could go to, I'll link that here in the chat. I'm trying to market exchange. Sorry, I lost it. So real quick, let me show this off, and then again, you can go and watch the morning show for this. But yeah, the Rabbit project and a couple others. So Rabbit and probably the Saemons were pointed to as like, hey, we need to look at what's going on in our ecosystem. These are quote unquote extractive drops with the way that they had it. And that was kind of the narrative, but there were also people on the other side. Biggie, and I think you were with specifically the Saemons, you were like, hey, you guys are being a little rough on this project here. But the Rabbits as well kind of coming in and maybe having a trailer or an animation or two and saying, hey, we're going to raise 800,000 off of this, which is fairly large for the community right now. So that's kind of the combos that are happening in SEI.
And it's fair. I'm glad that they're happening. You don't see them in other places, right? That just itself tells you a lot about the quality of the people that are there, that are really pushing to try to be somewhat different, right?
Look, I love what Halibut and Dr. Mills and Biggie and Q and us, like this crew, is doing with SEI, because when ETH was first popping off, there was not as much experience or intelligent conversations around there wasn't any good leadership, and it was just a clusterfuck, and everybody trying to get you into whatever, and there's people that can actually analyze this shit now, look at numbers, look at like, yo, what you're doing doesn't make sense. It's not that we're just trying to hate or we don't want you here. It's like, yo, your strategy is actually extractive, or it's not great, or it won't work. And the fact that we have smart people taking this seriously, trying to guide and provide that leadership or thought leadership or some real sort of critique. Again, in crypto NFTs, we haven't had enough good critiques.
Who was an
and
example? Like all three of you, who was a good example in the ETH run of what Gifted is trying to talk about that actually stood up and said, no, we can't have this or that, or really trying, like, had a big voice? Because it felt like everybody just took the bag and fucking ran with it. They just like sold their souls immediately.
Yeah, I think there was people early on that tried to be those people who then, to your point, got sort of like overrun. So like very early in Clubhouse, there was people like Alan Henna, Black Dave, fucking Cas Vegas, Motivate. Like there were people that like I connected with super early because I saw the authenticity of them trying to think big picture and not just like rug and sell bullshit to people. They were really trying to educate, onboard, and build a sustainable ecosystem. I come out of that sort of class of believing in creators creating great things, and then a lot of that again sort of got overrun by the hype people, the fucking money. Everybody got fucking dollar signs in their eyes, and then a lot of that was kind of just like, oh, shut up, like you're just trying to keep me from making money.
It's always the community will handle it, and then no one ever does anything. That's what's crazy about this stuff.
I would say Larva Labs. I would say Art Blocks. You know, when they launched, they weren't extractive. They were very accessible. They were very welcoming and opening.
But they didn't have that opposing voice though, Biggie. They were comfortable building their product.
Yeah, that's very true. That's right.
The soul, I think, was there very early on in Clubhouse of trying to shepherd people into a sort of good direction, but that soul got sucked out once the money went crazy and everybody started seeing dollar signs, and a lot of those people got kind of pushed to the side for whatever the sort of the hype people and whatever else happened. So anyway, what's the fucking point? I kind of lost track of where this was going a little bit. Yeah. I love the conversation. I love the again what Halibut and Dr. Mills, and that there is thought leadership. I think some smart people, and I guess that was like one of the main points that I was trying to get. Yeah. I forgot the other one.
Yeah, Rizzle and Easy and Crypto and guys like that too. Like they were original OGs, and they still are to this day, and try to shepherd the right things. It's just look, we're not like. I feel like we're almost saying kumbaya up here, so we're gonna move on.
Snacks.
But we're degens too.
QV.
Like that's
QV was there. QV knows. He's calling out BitBuzz and Snacks as examples too.
It's just I think the point, just to kind of bring the points to bring it back, is just like the fact that in real time. We're using our personal anecdote here. In real time, we're seeing the effect of maybe early voices in a very small ecosystem like ETH was in 2021. It's kind of crazy. Like everybody I talked to is like, yeah, it's kind of wild that we're actually like we're calling out exchanges and they're listening. It's just like OpenSea would never.
And it's a reason why I'm excited to support what Roger Dickerman's doing. That guy's trying to be a thought leader within crypto art. And on the SEI side, the rabbits thing didn't impress me. I actually really liked Halibut's analysis of them. It was like kind of for what they were asking and what they said they were delivering. Like there doesn't seem to be a real clear ask or even necessarily clarity on like, can they deliver a quality game yet for this? Does this ecosystem support what they're even trying to do? And he was very unimpressed with it too. I kind of resonate with that. The Saman I picked up too yesterday because I just don't know as much about it. And Biggie, I know you're kind of bag biased on that one too, because I think you have a few of those, but I don't know enough about that one to count them out yet, to your point.
All right, guys, I would love to sit here and talk SEI. We do have, a morning show that is dedicated to this for an hour, so I'm going to drop that link. Hudah, I did want to pull up before you have to roll out, and we also, are leaving in the next, 2 or 3 minutes, folks. What's going on here, Hudah?
Yeah, just that these are all indexed at this point on Magic Eden, and I think the drop time is like in 30 minutes where these actually will hit wallets, and we should see that secondary rip. Dude, I am seeing, okay, of course this is in the Taproot Wizards Discord and people making their price predictions, but there's people out there saying this is going over 1 Bitcoin, which I can't fucking fathom.
But also could. The rare ones could.
I'm telling you, dude, if it happens, I also won't be shocked. I'm not going to be shocked to see this over 0.5.
You got 2?
I'll say that. Here's the thing with rarity.
You said that,
right?
I'm not doxing you. Said that on
for my guy. Yo, he was out here fucking creating the cringiest fucking wizard videos, and this is why. Who's cringing now? I'm fucking cringing.
Who's gonna be cringing when I'm up here with my Apple Vision Pro?
I'm gonna be crying, wishing. I just wish I was a wizard as cool as this motherfucking mullet wearing red bearded wizard god down here.
Gift that woke up on something today.
I'm gonna wear it every episode if I get one. So apologies ahead of time. But okay, cool thing with that collection, we're not going to know what's rare. Like those traits come out over time. We don't even know when. Nobody knows when your actual cat's traits are going to start unveiling. Could be tomorrow, could be in a year.
I actually really like this approach because it basically the community decides for themselves. Like you saw this early on Wax, like there wasn't any kind of like rarity sniping kind of thing. It was like, oh shit, that actually is rare because the community is sleuthing and thinks that's rare.
It's gonna, I mean, here's the thing. People are gonna sell stuff today. Someone today is gonna sell the rarest cat in the collection without realizing it because there's just no way to know. There's no way to know. They all have different reveal dates. Nobody knows when it is. It's wild. So,
all right, love it.
Should be fun.
All right, Left Action House here saying, I have been in crypto since 2017 and seen a lot. I think being real in education is the only way to make it. Be rad, great show, love you dudes. Man, we're trying. Honestly, we're trying to hit on multiple points, guys. I'm gonna have to change the thumbnil of the episode today because we didn't get to Faracaster at all. We touched a little bit on it, but that's kind of the deep dive we wanted to do.
Airdrop, which I think is pretty significant.
I got you. Hit it, dude. This will be the last topic.
Yeah, if you stake Cosmos or TIA, you should check your wallet, assuming you claimed, right? Because we did bring this up in the channel multiple times, a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I believe it's trading at like $5 at the moment, doing really well. From my limited research that I've been able to do, I would just suggest keeping some to stake because
DYOR.
Yeah, DYOR and FA, but it seems to have some bullish people behind it, and so just something to consider.
All right, Hudah just had to leave, folks, and we are going to do the same. I think there was a little bit more on that DYM than just TIA or Cosmos. For some reason, I got an airdrop.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I qualified for something. You never know these days.
I think was this base? The Pudgies also it might have been base.
I think it was base, and I got it from Friendtech.
Okay, right on. And I think the Pudgies also might have gotten like some airdrop to them as well. Right on.
No little Pudgies though. Fucking
discriminating against little ones, man.
Just discriminating against short folk. I hate it. All right, guys, fantastic episode today. We got through a ton. I would have liked to get to Faracaster, but maybe we can dive in tomorrow.
Throw it up tomorrow. Run it up.
Give ourselves a little bit of chance to actually fucking use the thing.
Yeah, I just downloaded it, so I've barely look. Biggie's right.
No.
I haven't even spent an hour in it yet, but we're trying to learn it because I'll tell you this, it might be too early, but what I am learning about what the protocol is trying to do, I believe that it can be a paradigm shift. And I like the way that it's decentralizing social. I like it a lot more than what Friendtech was doing or what they were, some of these other Socialify, whatever. There's too many fucking names for this bullshit. The point is, my initial take is positive. I'm very interested, but yes, it's still very early, and I'm excited to dig in more and see what we can find out.
All right, folks, we're going to be here tomorrow talking about points on Faracaster and some of these other protocols. Hopefully you did get some of those points for the DYM airdrop.
I got my diamonds on Magic Eden.
All right, I'm going to let these guys take us out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in to NFT Live. If you appreciate these guys, plus Hudah, who had to get out of here, who's going to be making a nice bag. It's nice to see the homie making a bag. Leave a like on the show, repost it on X, do what you got to do. We'll be back to do it all again tomorrow. We've got Say What in the morning at 11, GM Web3 at 12, and 1 p.m., of course, we're going to be here again, getting after it. So appreciate you. Biggie Poppins, Gifted, let's head out.
OVOT fam. Couldn't be happier to be here with you. I know it was an energy-packed 3 different in 3 different shows. Sometimes we get a little bit passionate. I'm talking about myself here, but just know, I'm not trying to FUD. I want this place to be better. I want you guys to be safe and to think for yourselves and to do well this cycle. So that's all. But I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
Heck yeah. Yeah. Big shout out to you, Biggie Alpha Chad Poppins. the Dob father himself over here, and of course that magical mullet wearing wizard Hudah for stopping through, and all of y'all out there, we appreciate y'all a fuck ton. And our Vibe, our tribe, we'll be back tomorrow. That's it.